Grand Day Royals, and welcome to Rock Single. I am your host, Selena K. And joining me today is the classic man himself. I will let him introduce himself in just a second. We are currently waiting on Lord Ty. He's having a few technical difficulties. Let me slow down. We're having a few technical difficulties. However, Lord Ty will be here in two shakes of a rattle's tail. But let me go ahead and highlight, today. Today is actually my father's birthday. No, this is not my biological father. This is my spiritual father. This is also a man who chose to be my father. And that's truth. Hey, Lord Ty, go ahead and cut your camera just for a second. I'll bring you right on in. But let me do this quick intro. But yes, so this is my spiritual father. He chose me as a daughter. He chose to pour into me, provide me with the knowledge and the wisdom that was necessary for me as a woman, as a womb man. Here he provided me, with insight into the instructions that were already, given to me by God. And I thank him. I just want to honor him today. None other than the Dr. Cato Brooks Jr. He would always say this charge that he has to keep. And I totally understand that now, no matter what anybody else got going on, no matter what other people choose to do in life, it is this charge that I have to keep as well, for the kingdom, for his namesake solely. So I thank you, brother. I love you, my king. Thank you for choosing me as a daughter. Thank you, Father. Like, seriously, you are a father to the fatherless, and you have forever changed hearts and minds for his namesake solely. And I just want to definitely rep you today and shout you out and tell you, grand anniversary, King. I will forever value you and honor your teaching. So thank you, brother. Thank you. All right. Guys, you can come on and show your faces. We got Lord Ty in the building, Shot a Classic. What is going on? What's going on, Kings?
Hey, how you doing?
I am amazing. Well, Lord Ty, let me introduce you to Shot a Classic. Shot a Classic. This is none other than Lord Ty from BZNZ Radio. Shot a Classic will be joining us growing forward. Yeah.
What's up, King? I salute you, bro. I salute you right there. Bam. You see that?
Salute you right back, brother.
Yes, well, Shot a Classic. Go ahead, introduce us to you, where you're from, what's going on, and what's your mission, all the different things you do and offer.
Well, my government name is what it is, and I go by the name Shot a Classic. I am the people's champ and the people's choice. So I try to be the people's voice. That's my little slogan right there. My aim and my mission is to perfect my imperfections and my flaws, and be a reflection of those, and be a reflection of those I come in contact with. Be relatable, right? I'm an advocate for love and forgiveness. You know what I mean? And I just want to pour into people to the best of my ability, and still show my vulnerability, show my shortcoming, flaws, and defects, while still trying to be everything that the Most High has called me to be on my level. You know what I mean? So all the way open for advice, instruction, encouragement, critiquing, all those things. I'm from the city of what they refer to and call brotherly love. That the jury is still out. The jury is still out the lunch on that one right there. But I'm from Philadelphia, but I'm definitely familiar with multiple states and cities and some various places. So it ain't never much for me to just jump on any highway or jump on a plane to get to wherever y'all at if y'all need me. So I put that in the atmosphere. You know what I mean? A phone call away for any kind of sound advice, or just a real good listen there. That's me right there.
Yeah. Well, we definitely welcome you. We also have a bit of announcement. He will be hosting the Rock True King show beginning in February. I am very excited about that. I am honored, my king. Like, we have definitely been waiting on someone to lead and that terminal. We refer to ourselves as an airport, like we discussed. And this new terminal that, a new terminal that we've been just waiting to, get started on and definitely perfect with his love. And I'm excited to have you on point on lead. You offer so much to the community, both generations up and down. And again, just super honored. Lord Ty, what you been on, brother?
All not much, just in the lab, been working.
Yeah.
Thinking of a master plan. Just thinking of a master plan.
You know it. Me and you both. You see how we just moving and grooving, brother. It's like it's grand things.
Moving and grooving.
Yes, sir.
Trying
Yes,
to
sir.
further elevate inside of the kingdom. Absolutely.
Absolutely, King. Well, let's jump on in here. Let's get started. I have been waiting for this subject matter. I've been waiting on this subject matter. Please forgive us at this time. I'm not able to share to Facebook and everything. I will be able to do so because I'm recording from my phone today, but I will share everything after the fact. But yes, I've been waiting on this subject matter because, again, it is imperative that the decision making for our kings, and then also for queens, what we're offering our kings needs to be thorough, complete, one whole minded people, and it's without excuse. We need to definitely dead all excuses why we cannot be mature. You know, all of the things that we have been taught regarding relationship is false. It is false. It is false. When you hear somebody like, oh yeah, well, we'll just we'll get married and then like we'll grow to love, or we'll eventually get to where we go, all these other things that people who are not prepared just want you to put up or tolerate with them would say. We have to dead all of this. God has given us rock true order. Prepare yourself for who you've been prepared for, period. And the moment that you omit that formula, the moment that you try to will your own way, you are now left to sustain it. So anything that you permit or you allow, you become responsible. And so this subject matter for today is Knuck If She Buck. Knuck If She Buck. There are no bucking horses, my kings. There are no bucking horses. There are coats that have been prepared for you to go and get. And she's following willingly, not because of who you are, not because of what you do, but because she wants to. And she understands that she is here to help merely. God called us help. Adam named us womb man. My kings, speak.
Yes, I think it is very imperative that when it comes down to decision making, that you have a well thought out plan. I forgot how it go, but they say proper planning, something about preventing failure. I forgot
I know
how
what you're talking about.
that whole thing is very important, because if you are not thinking out, and then you have some loopholes here and there, then what happens? What happens, fellas? Then she comes back and talk about it. But
Yeah.
if you know where you're going, know what you're trying to do, and you can't be shaking the stirred, then you in
Teach.
the right direction. Like, I'm gonna say this, when thinking about the whole Job situation and how his wife, she said some things to him that a lot of men would have just shriveled up and balled up and bowed down to what she said. But
Teach,
Job
brother.
was like, well, you sound like a foolish woman, because Job wasn't afraid if she had been like, well, and I'm gonna go ahead and leave. And here's the dough. That's
Teach.
essentially that's what Job was saying. Here's the dough. So fellas, we got to get more like that mind of Job, and again get that mind of God backing
Yeah.
us up. So when we get ready to make these decisions, we won't be shaking the stir.
King, shot a
Yeah.
classic.
Word. Just to piggyback up off of what both of you beautiful people, King and Queen, have already said and established is that so just in order to be completely balanced, just to be completely balanced, everything okay? So just to be completely balanced, I apologize. One of the things I want to say is that, like the Queen said, she wants to follow, she being that Queen. Here's the thing, fellas. Understanding the history of our women, collectively all of us, but we're going to just isolate and say the woman in itself. Understanding the disappointment, understanding the brokenness, not making excuses, but identifying things, right? Understanding the brokenness, understanding the rejection, the heartbreak, right? The disbelief and the lack of encouragement or the lack of belief in us as kings, right? We have to give them something to follow, right? So we got to equip ourselves first. You can't lead. If you blind, you can't lead someone.
Come on.
You might be able to show them something or move around a little bit. Y'all can get somewhere, but you have to give her something to follow, right? So she can so that she can feel comfortable following. You understand what I'm saying? Give her something that she can be confident that this is something different. This is not the normal. This is not my norm. Because a lot of times, and I'm sure that our beautiful Queen are very knowledgeable, right? In depth and insight and wisdom. Queen can attest to is that there's a lot of men and women out here today that are dysfunctionally functioning, but it feels normal. It feels very normal, right? It feels totally normal. It feels like it's okay to argue every day. It's okay to fight about trivial, miscellaneous, like minute things. It's okay. This is the norm, but it's not the norm. It's not the norm. There's a passage without, I don't want anyone to feel like I'm holding the dial or I'm trying to press something on you. There's a passage that says, love is patient, love is kind. It's not that you won't have moments, but because of those other features and those other elements, those other components, it should equip you on how to delegate and get through and move past those moments, right? So you might have a different, because everything ain't black and white. So you might have a moment in your relationship, right, where you guys are not seeing eye to eye. There's only one component that could literally annihilate that dynamic, and that's a lack of communication. If that's intact, you can restore order every time.
I would totally agree. I would totally agree there. It's definitely, what you're saying is absolutely correct. And it is still, though, we are all here individually. Okay. Prior to you having marriage, you still have accountability to Christ. You still have individual devotion to God. God even says, do not trust man. That includes yourself. So people make it like there's a trust factor in relationship, but it's not. The trust factor is the relationship that you have with God. You don't trust him. And so these things should be intact. Like you said, you should be a one whole complete person prior to the marriage. And friendship gives you that avenue for you to go through these different relationship issues that you would have, not just with a possible spouse, but anybody, your mama, your daddy, your sister, your brother, your children. You're being buffered and shaped into becoming one him, love. You know what I'm saying? That is then becoming patient. That is becoming kind. That is, at the end, you have temperance. You have self-control. And like you said, will issues arise? Those issues should arise here. And so when you get into the marriage situation, there is no not seeing eye to eye. There is no not seeing eye to eye because you don't see eye to eye with him. You guys have one common cause, Christ. How can you disagree hold on, my king? How can you disagree when the one common cause is him? So that's like all of us working on the team. I may have an idea, you may have an idea, King down here may have an idea. But that's why we can just go back to our original point of reference, which is our kingdom constitution, and we go and see what he says about it. And if everybody's in rock true agreement, not just knowing for ourselves, but believing in agreement with him, we don't have no problem. The problems all just went away. Go ahead, my king.
Classic or the good brother?
Oh, no, classic. Yes,
well,
yeah.
Well,
I thought you wanted to, yeah.
Well, yeah, I just, one of the things I was just, without trying to, monopolize the whole time window, I just wanted to say, like you said, prior to going into an engagement, but the one thing I was saying in terms of communication is that when anything is off track, it doesn't necessarily mean that it can't work. It's just not working properly. So when your communication is off track, that means it's not working properly. If the door's off the hinge, the door can close, but it can't close all the way. And if you have, and this could be yourself, if your ability to communicate is what I'm referring to, is off the hinge. If you're, I know that when you interjected, you wanted to be clear on that, and I'm so thankful that you do it so tastefully, because all it did was just make me not be long-winded about something else when I needed to just be deliberate about what I was saying. So I thank you for that, because like you said, like what I'm trying to say is, if you don't have the ability to communicate, develop it. Find out who knows how to. Tell someone that this is it. You cannot go into someone else's world with your energy and your lack of communication skill and your dysfunctions and your heartbreaks and heartaches, trying to find love because you're already damaged. So you're gonna deceive someone into thinking that you're a good place to sit when you're a damaged chair, and when they sit, they're gonna falsely gonna damage them too. So it's really important. It's imperative that you be honest with yourself first, and then you fix and repair and adjust and tweak and strengthen your weaknesses before you take advantage of an opportunity to explore someone else's life. King, what you think about that?
You know what? I got a question, because you said something that intrigued me. You said you said if you got communication, you said anything can work, right?
I believe that.
Okay, let me ask you. Does incompatibility does that exist?
So
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, is that the question, or is it more to it?
Well, it's more to it, because I really want to know something about this incompatibility thing. Because
okay, go ahead.
Because I've been in plenty of relationships, and you know how it is when you get ready to end them. But we just incompatible. But my question is, I'm like, if we so incompatible, how is it that we was able to make it 1 year, 2 years, or how is it that we was able to make it this far and we was incompatible?
So let me answer you. Here's the thing, and I like to give a lot of analogies because they work like that. They work good for you. So the reason why I believe that communication can fix anything, it's not just communication, but it's clear and concise communication. There's a lot of people that think they're communicating and they're not communicating. They're talking, they're not communicating. Okay. That's how come you see a lot of times, it might be a man or a woman, they'll get out of control. But the reason why they get out of control is a lot of times people get out of control in order to be in control, because they're having a difficult time conveying what they're feeling and separating what they're feeling from what they're thinking. There's a blockage there.
Yeah.
Right?
You shouldn't have your feelings.
So the thing about the incompatibility, here's the thing. Let's speak metaphorically. If you buy a device and you look for a charger, that charger may not be compatible for your phone. That means it won't even work. There's nothing that you can do to make that phone, make that charger piece fit your phone. It's not compatible for your phone.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. It will never work. The reason why you were able to sustain the relationship for those multiple years, and then someone now says, well, we were never compatible, is because one person or both people allow the energy and the love and the excitement to digress, or you have to reinvent yourself. Like, you have to reinvent yourself in those dynamics. But like the Queen said, how can two walk together unless they agree?
Right.
But you won't know that. You have to know your role and play your position, right? The catcher can't be the catcher and the pitcher. He can only be the catcher.
You
So
understand? Do you understand?
if you get the best catcher in the world, and the best pitcher in the world, and the worst catcher in the world, that catcher's gonna make that pitcher look like trash, man. Because he's not in position. Because he's not in position. So that incompatibility where you were comfortable in that dynamic,
Yes.
You knew your role and the love and the image, everything was in place. The other person had another perspective, another outlook, another vision, maybe some other avenues, and those things deceived them, and it made them find fault in you. When a person's constantly finding fault in you, that should be a red flag, as the Queen alluded to.
That's
Queen, what you think about that? What you think about that, Queen?
No, I totally agree. You know, there are levels to it. So you have the incompatibility, being incompatible. You know, one, like you're saying, you are comfortable. You are tolerating and accepting somebody else, or you're allowing yourself to be tolerated and accepted. And that would only stem from the fact that you do not know who you are and to whom you belong. You and God got a problem with you. Again, this whole thing with self-doubt. Self-doubt isn't you doubting yourself. It is you doubting who God said he is and who God said you are. And so when you're doubting and you're fearing, and so you feel like, oh, okay, this is all I can have, this is the best I'm gonna get, well, then you've already failed. So you'll accept and tolerate anything, and like you'll get comfortable in those situations. That's one aspect of it. The second aspect is also God using this person to buffer you so you can see the areas that you need to strengthen in. So you're able to see, okay, well, I needed to learn how to communicate better. You know what I'm saying? I needed to learn how to have long suffering. I needed to learn what love is not, so that I know exactly what love is.
And just one last thing, Mr. King, Miss Queen, just for anybody that's listening, the onlookers, just to fine tune that statement, because you know some of us, as we watch other people and hear other people take the initiative to help us or try to offer us some kind of aid, help, or assistance, we become very critical of their platform and the things that they're saying. Just to fine tune that one statement where the Queen said that God will use someone to buffer you, and what the Queen is saying, just to be very clear. Because God doesn't use them. God doesn't use crap. He doesn't make a mess, and he doesn't. But he'll turn a mess into a message. He'll turn a mess into a message, though. He will give you free will, free opportunity to do your, but you'll learn from it one way or the other.
Yes.
You'll learn from it.
Yes.
Willingly or unwillingly, but you will learn.
Yes.
You will learn. Now, whether or not you take heed to the lesson, where the lesson becomes growth or not, you'll learn. And if you don't get it the first time, you'll continuously go through that process and that cycle until you get it.
My King, teach. And let me tell you what it is that you're going to get, just to piggyback off of what you're saying, King. You're going to learn his way or no way at all. It is rock, true, or dirt. He has a way in which he does everything. And the moment you jump a gun, the moment you try to will your own way, and like you were saying about that charger piece, I had posted the other day about the baby trying to put the triangle peg into the different holes and it doesn't fit. It's not ever going to fit when you try to will your own way. And so what he's teaching you is you're going to go my way or you're going to go yours. And my way has, I will sustain it. I'm going to sustain it, but you do it on your own. You become solely responsible for it, and you'll learn that you can't do what God does. You will learn that.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's fact.
Anything else, my King, Ty?
Yeah, I think sometimes we try to place a square peg where square pegs doesn't belong. And yes, on that communication piece, absolutely, I think that is very key in relationships. And I want to go to the garden real quick. See, with Adam, I think if Adam had communicated clearly with Eve when she came and had that slice of watermelon and tried to that watermelon, if he had been like, Eve, is that the fruit that God said not to eat? I think we would have had a different outcome.
It's even before that though, because that's the communication piece. But see, it goes a little bit deeper and beyond that, right? and we are a reflection of each other on here right now. So there are no big guys and little U's. We bouncing right now. We one energy. So I want to be clear on that because again, I like to say the onlookers and those who are listening, the further you grow in your development, right? It takes a minute to be able to digest, right? When babies are being born, and babies are a bad thing. It's a part of the process, though. We can't just eat solid foods. We gotta work our way up to it, right? And the thing that we're trying to give out right now, and this thing is solid. We're giving out something solid right now. Right. So in that garden piece, King, there was a level of disobedience that took place. Mm-hmm. He allowed that. He allowed. I'm gonna speak vaguely, but he allowed his situation to wander. Conversation took place. Mm-hmm. Right. This should have been a level of order before that. There wouldn't have been none of that. But you can't go look backwards. You can't look back because see, a lot of people like to look at, and it's a whole conversation piece to look and say, well, if it wasn't for Eve, she did this, she did that. It was before. The conversation can go on and on, right? Come on. Because and we don't want to jump off a topic because after the fact, people started hiding.
Come on, and
then here's the crazy thing. Everyone talks about how bad ratting is and snitching and all. The first one ever recorded in history was Adam. He said it wasn't me. I didn't do it. It was her. He said, but I told you. But let me just get back to something though real quick for you, King. Just to put this in the knapsack situation for you when we go hiking. When I talk to you, I talk to me. The communication tip. If there's nonverbal communication, verbal communication, body language, these are forms. This new texting thing is not a form of communication. It strips down and it annihilates and literally obliterates. It obliterates the highest and strongest level of communication. This right here, this texting thing, it's not communication.
Teach.
Right? Let me tell you, that's how come people can be in multiple cars and not be able to hear what the person is saying, but we can read the body language of the individual driving and say, okay, you got it, you going, I got it. Or a quarterback. Or basketball players, right? There's never a person that's hearing impaired or deaf. They can still, there's levels of communication. But when you talk about verbal communication, that's different. Mm-hmm. That's different. And you have to really take your time. That's how come a lot of times, if you guys talk and if you'll see me look and think, because I'm actually thinking of what it is I'm trying to express and convey, because one word could give you a totally different feeling and understanding. A single word.
One single word. Teach, brother. Ooh.
A single word. So it's important. And I'm going to give you an analogy to think about this. This right here is for the sisters too, but this right here for the brothers, right? It's a little tricky. If you got a window that's completely open in the wintertime, snowing, the heat could be on 80 if you want it on 80. What's going to happen with that window being wide open, Ken? What's going to happen?
It ain't going to be 80 no more in that room.
And that house is going to eventually get cold, right?
Yes, sir.
If you just crack that very same window this much with that same temperature outside, what's going to happen over a period of time with that same temperature? What's going to happen?
It's still going to feel a difference. It's going to get cold with it being cracked.
It's going to be as cold as it was with the window completely open. Because it's off track, right? There's a gap in between open and close, and when you have a gap in your dynamic, you have a gap in your communication, right? When you have a big gap or small gap, you're going to feel the effects of that gap.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying to you?
Okay.
So you have to make sure that before the night ends, you do walk around, do walk through, make sure everything's closed up and shut down. I speak metaphorically, but literally, right? I can't come into your home and change the thermostat in your house. You're the man of the house. There's going to be a problem, right? Can't nobody come off the street just come in there and say, hey, it's too hot in here. Can't put this on 62. oh no, you got the wrong house. This ain't set up for that. Right. You can move some furniture around in here. You come in here trying to change something. Right. So if you're in a dynamic and you're in a situation and the temperature in that situation or the dynamic is a little bit, whose job is it to regulate that temperature?
No, it's gonna definitely be me, the man.
You gotta regulate it, but it don't mean beating on your chest. Diplomacy, wisdom. It means tact, right? It means empathy. It means patience, right? You can still be assertive without being overwhelming. There's a combination of things. Usually diplomacy. You ain't king by accident. You king for a reason. What you feel about that, champ?
Most definitely. We can't let them what they say, see you sweat. You gotta
That's
be
right,
smart. You gotta be smart. You know what I'm saying?
That's right, dude. Talk heavy, let them know.
You gotta finesse them just a little bit so they can be like, oh, okay, all right, I like you. I like it. Hey, I want to throw something else in there though. I want to throw something else. I think too, social media is a big problem too with this communication thing, because I have had, different individuals that I've dated come on my page and look at some stuff that I might be saying, but I'm saying it's just, we just having fun. So I'm like, don't look at that and think that's who I am now. We on here clowning, having fun. So you stepping into the wrong little bullpen. Well, you said this, you said that. That's who you are. No, that's not. That's not me. That's not me. That's just me having fun. So
I would go ahead and agree again, like he's saying, that's part of texting. This is these miscommunication, things that we have. You're missing the meta messages. You're reading into things that's not there, but then that all goes back into stem from your own personal psyche. It stems from where you are mentally, and this is why you have to get these things straight. Change your mind. A lot of things, women, not just women, because I know it's people. We do not mind our own business. We don't know how to be friends to each other. We're so quick to just snatch and grab and act as if people are our properties. And it's not. We don't belong to each other. We don't own each other. God is the owner. We are stewards over ourselves first. And this is what I'm saying when I'm saying, like you were saying, brother, no, we are not to look back and go back to the garden. However, it gives us a roadmap of how people function or malfunction mentally, because when they are operating under the flesh, or they're exhibiting fallen behavior, like you said, what they doing? They playing the blame game. So they take no ownership of what they do. They try to cover themselves. And you see a lot of women with the cover girl. And I'm saying, cover girl, you are just as fake and you are as fraud, because you are not in his image. So you're covering up everything, but you're not just doing that on the outside, you're doing that on the inside. And we're watching men too. You covering yourself, you covering yourself. And the thing about it is they went and they covered themselves with their butt still being exposed. You know what I'm saying? So it's the behavior that you're able to go ahead and have the insight on and say, oh, okay, she's immature. She's not ready. This is an undone product. Move forward until possibly this person is done, one whole and complete in mind, or you may move on. And this is not who you're prepared for, but you were just traveling through so that, again, you're able to learn lessons that is necessary for God's usage, because this isn't about our preferences. This is all about his purpose. And he's preparing people together for his namesake, for his person. If I take this person and I put him with this person, what I will get is my image. This person is whole, one, and complete. This person, whole, one, and complete. And if they produce a product or a child like they're supposed to be, fruitful, then multiply, then that person, they'll reproduce is in my image every single time, in my image, as opposed to being a copy of a copy of a copy. My king, Shy, the classic.
Word, it couldn't have been said no better. It really couldn't have been said. Some things you just don't have to touch, you know what I mean? Some things you don't, because you can overkill, you know what I mean? When sometimes you go behind something that was profound, right? And clear and concise, you want to leave that where it's at, so you don't want to put, you can't eat off of a plate everything at the same exact time is impossible.
Okay. So then I would just say, then let's do final thoughts. Let's get ready to get out of here. Let's leave them with something.
Wait 1 second, please.
Yes, sir.
Because what you said is everything. It was something I wanted to say. Oh man, you said something. You said something that was thought provoking. You said something that was thought provoking. It's you or the king. I just wanted to say. I just wanted to say that there are a lot of us that are going through identity crisis. I'm not talking about sexuality. I don't want no one on here to see what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about your sexuality. I'm not talking about what you prefer physically. That's a whole nother conversation. That's not what identity crisis.
Teach, King.
Right. And that might be another day or however when we come on or whatever. But I just want to put that and let that simmer in your spirit because, being 25 and 35 and 45 and 50, even 60 or 65, that just means that you're an adult. The mindset of a man is different. Right? There's stages and degrees for everything in life. There's stages and degrees. Right? And beating on your chest and saying, I'm a man, you're going to respect me. Right? Part of your characteristic and demeanor as a man is to respect yourself first. Through your attire, how you wear your clothes, how you speak, your mannerism, how you handle disappointment. Even how you handle disappointment. I heard somebody say one day, stop getting mad about the results you're not getting, about the work you're not doing.
I can't. This is great. This is great.
You understand what I'm saying?
I do. Well, I'm sorry. Were you finished? The classic. Were you finished?
I'll start for you, but I know that I don't want to. I'm telling you, like I didn't know what to expect, and I actually wanted to be in the house and be in front of my laptop and have my slippers on and be comfortable. But when Queen Tay sent me the link, and I spoke to you about being punctual and being available and being reliable.
Yes, sir.
The fight against myself, those words knocked me all up inside nothing I could do was just hit the link. There was nothing else I could do because then you go from being decent to being hypocritical. And we all have, our imperfections, flaws, shortcomings, and defects, right? I ain't got ways that's gonna come on my back. I promise you that, right? You might hear me say some things one day, you might see me do something else one day, but I promise you, my heart, I got a good posture on it. And that's the one thing I want you to understand, that Rome wasn't built in a day. And no matter how good of a builder you are, you can't build a home in a day. There's a process, and you have to trust your own process. You're not running behind. You're not running late. I should have did this. I should have did. No.
Thank you, Lord.
You're going through your process, and it's okay. You're right. And I wanted to, and the one thing that people will always do when you talk about not taking ownership, oh my God, that's my conversation for the streets. Deflecting, you always want to deflect, and you never want to take ownership.
Yep.
That can be paralyzing to any situation.
Work
related, relationship, work, whatever, parenting, you will annihilate something by constantly finding fault and blaming someone else and not seeing. If you can't detect and identify an issue, there'll never be room for improvement because you can't fix what you don't see the problem with.
Teach, King. Teach.
So I'm gonna stop there, man, before y'all kick me off this platform forever.
I figured it sounded like you were like really stopping that bus. And you first, let me say thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for joining Rock True Nation. I am going to, I know Lord Taz probably going to extend the invitation to you for his show tomorrow. But I am also going to extend the invitation for his show tomorrow because he has such a dope show. There are grand kings on that show and on that platform. He's out of Indianapolis. The audience is huge. And I believe, reach out to your brother here because it will be an amazing asset to that team as well. My Lord Ty, please give us some final thoughts.
All right. Well, we had to connect. Is he in the group? I had to connect so he can get my Facebook information.
Give Lord Ty my number. Give him everything. You want my social? What you need? I got you.
All right, okay. I don't need the social.
No, I got you. I ain't hiding nothing, man. I don't think nobody trying to hurt me on this, John.
But yeah, let me. I'm gonna do this real quick, man. Give a shout out to my boy, Shot the Classic. Shout out to my
snap.
girl, Mary Kennedy, Selena K, and to the
Hey, how you doing that? Oh man.
Everybody, I'm just saying this. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't catch the message today, proper planning. Guys, we got to plan this thing. Guys, we gotta be men to ourselves first before we could be a man to a woman.
Thank you,
Guys,
Lord.
we gotta have that conversation before we even, we gotta have that conversation at the gate before we get down the road and then get ready to have the conversation because it might be too late. So that's my final thought for tonight.
Teach. And just again, I thank you both, my kings. I am honored to serve on this platform with you. I am honored to highlight you both. You are grand models for our children, for society, for generations above us, but that are with us and below us. Queens, listen to me. These are our kings. These are our brothers. They are not a come up. They are not benefactors. We should not be sitting around waiting for them to die, whether it's a physical death or mentally, in order to benefit from who they are or what they bring to the table. This is getting out of hand. We as women have to also be in line. There is order for us too. Prior to us being in any relationship, we got to have the right relationship and standing with our Father, with God. You know what I'm saying? And learn to honor God so we can honor our brothers. We can honor our kings. All right, guys, this was RockSingle. Shout out to Miss Sheena. Go ahead, my king. Did you have?
I want to give a special shout out to Jate for introducing me, bringing me. Hey, play the song, Lord Ty.
Do the thingy, Ty.
I want to give a special shout out to Jate. I want to thank you both. I had a phenomenal time. Y'all definitely dropped some wisdom on me, man. Like laughing and joking with you yesterday, Queen, was one thing. But seeing you go full throttle and come out with your swordy shit, it's like night and day. It was heavy, man. Cause I seen the fun side, but this right here was major. And Lord Ty, you something. I like your name from the rip, just to give you like, play a drill for your name. I play boom, hit. You know I'm saying, like,
I want to do it for the one time.
Yeah. And lastly, real quick. Anyone that's in your life that could potentially be a blessing in your life, don't have to be romantically involved, but a blessing. You recognize what your blessings is. If they're pouring into you, don't poke a hole into the thing that's pouring into you. Because once everything leak out, there's nothing else that's to pour. Don't do that.
Teach, King.
Don't sabotage your very own blood. Don't sabotage it.
Teach.
You're not a CSI victim. This is not the year for that. No more. We're gonna come out of that. This ain't a special unit, special victims crimes. We're not doing that. Not this year. We speaking life over our lives. We speaking life over our health. We speaking life over our finances and our circumstances. We're connecting. When you get a good surge and a good connection, it says good. When your tie says, yo, your 5G is down to 2G, it buffers, it does some things, but we ain't doing that this year. You're not calling your plumber to come do your hair. We're not calling your mechanic.
Oh my God.
To come perform surgery. Know what your connections are and use them.
Thank you.
God don't bless you with feet for you to walk on your hands all day and complain about your shoulders hurting.
Woo! That's enough. You stop. We are out here till 2 weeks from now. Y'all got to tune in to RockSingle. Tune in to BZZ Radio tomorrow, Lord. I pray. That is one of the grandest shows anyway. So, guys, thank you, Mr. Tate. Thank you, Sheena Goodine. Thank you, everybody who is watching and tuning in. I'll share this very soon. Thank you, my kings. Don't forget to RockSingle, Rock Truth, or absolutely nothing at all. Peace, y'all. We out. Yeah. Blessings. Blessings.